and he needs to come out and admit that.
Greg, there was a lot of resentment there in that Steelers locker room. What was your reaction to all that yesterday?
It was very interesting.
Do tell.
Being someone who has gone through something close, not quite as similar. Here's what I find interesting is when you're the one that's still in that locker room, you don't think anything is wrong with it, or you think everything is wrong, I should say. You think that James Harrison, come on, man, get out of your emotions. He wanted this for himself. Well, number one, he's in a position where he felt like he was being disrespected and mishandled, and he wanted to perform. He feels like he can still get that done. New England, Bill Belichick is known to grab something that you're not going to utilize and put it to use. And James Harrison will be effective in that New England Patriots uniform. What I do like about what Pouncey is saying is this guy was in our locker room and he wanted out. When you're in, you have to be in. For me, my situation in Green Bay, I was out once the season was over. Like mentality-wise, my mental state was one of change is going to take place.
Right.
Did I want to stay? Would I have liked to stay? Absolutely. But once I left, you feel like there is some loyalty that the organization should have owed you or does owe you. And when that doesn't take place, you get into your emotions. And I don't care who you are, what level player you are, it gets the best of you. You say things that you shouldn't say, or you may do something that you shouldn't or you would not ordinarily do. And that's what takes place when you have a situation that has been stressed, there's tension, and there's division. And James Harrison chose to opt out, get out of there. Hey, power to him.
Man, Greg, I don't think this is similar to your situation at all.
It's different from a standpoint. I was in free agency.
Well, no, forget even that part of it. First of all, you were still a productive football player. You were not a guy that's at 39 years old that is there in mostly a mentorship role that's got 20 snaps on the year. That's not where you were in your career. You were no longer at the peak of your career, but you were not just hanging on by a thread your last year in Green Bay. That's not true. Also, I wasn't with you in Green Bay, but let me ask you a question. How many meetings you fall asleep in your last year in Green Bay?
I don't believe I fell asleep.
Okay, none. Okay, I'm just curious.
Not saying that.
Were you?
I took a couple of doses.
Okay, but you weren't making a point.
What covers are you in? Cover 2.
Right. But you weren't making a point to show up your position, coach.
No, not at all.
Your last year in Green Bay, were you a healthy scratch at all? Any of those games? And if you were, did you storm out of the stadium? No. Did you leave?
No.
Okay. Did you refuse to help the young wide receivers on the team?
Not at all.
Okay.
Have you seen all this behavior? Have you seen guys inactive that went home? And have you seen veteran players that did not mentor the player that was going to take their spot?
I've definitely seen that.
Okay.
I see that all the time.
Well, and you saw it with Favre to Rodgers, right?
Absolutely. I saw it with a guy at my position. When I first got there, Donald Driver wasn't mentoring me. He wasn't saying, hey, Greg, here we go, let's go. Now,
yes,
we're great now. But when I first came in, no, this is my plate, and you are taking food off of it, and I don't like it. You figure it out yourself.
So again, the distinction I will draw is if you are bringing back 39-year-old James Harrison and you are drafting T.J. Watt and you know that James Harrison is in the twilight of his career, didn't have a whole bunch of teams trying to go sign him this offseason. You are doing it because you want his leadership. You want him in the meetings.
But James Harrison doesn't know that, or doesn't want to believe that, or doesn't want to give food off his plate.
Well, listen, he's getting his money. His contract is guaranteed for the year once he started the season. Like,
yes.
I think James Harrison, I just think you're doing yourself a disservice comparing your departure from Green Bay to what happened with Pittsburgh with James Harrison.
I think that Greg understands the legacy within an organization, and he also understands that there's a certain way to be a professional. And Greg was saying that at the end of Green Bay, I had decided that I was going to be a professional. Now, James had sent signs. Mike Tomlin's his coach. Joey Porter is his position coach. So we know personally that he knows exactly where he stands. Joey Porter has told him, Bud Dupree and T.J. Watt, these guys are our starters, all right? We do not think you can make a contribution on the field. That's the reason why you're going to be in street clothes. Now, I've seen plenty of veterans that embrace that and what we call those gravy train years, Nick. They don't have you there for your ability. They have you there to mentor people, get the right environment, and they're going to give you some milk off the fat, off of your legacy. All right? So they give you that year at the end. That's what this year is for him. But he got into his feelings, and it's hard to play football and not get rewarded. You work 6 days out of the week. You know how you get rewarded? It is not the paycheck. It's playing on Sundays, man.
Yes.
And it's hard to replace that for a player that has played at a high level. I'm not here to steal these people's money. I want to play football. It's hard to lift all those weights. It's hard to practice all the time. So I understand where James is. But the reality is James made Pittsburgh cut him. And that's the reason why, and that's the truth that Pouncey's talking about, that he needs to let the media know. He made Tomlin, he made Joey Porter and that organization release him.
Yeah, and again, to the point that you made on the last topic, guys, they don't see when the end is right in front of them.
Oh, man, I can still do it, man.
And I don't care who you are. You still feel like, I got one more pass rush. I got a couple more touchdowns.
Dave Wanstead told me after a bye week, I had been doing TV for 7 weeks. You look so good in practice. We're going to start you in the Green Bay game.
And you people tell you those things.
Tyrone Williams hit me in that Dolphins uniform like a switchblade went across my back. And at that point, Greg, I knew Chris Carter ain't nothing special about him. Jesus, take the wheel. I need to get out of here. I need another career.
If it doesn't work out for him in New England, is that the end of James Harrison?
Yeah, I think
The
he
Smithsonian.
Again,
the National Museum of History.
If I were to give James Harrison some advice, I would try to mend whatever it is that I created a riff with in Pittsburgh. To Pouncey's point, the legacy is everything. If you can savor that, if you can just hold on to that, you will have so much after your career in Pittsburgh as a Steeler. Don't tarnish that. Don't throw that all away.
Yeah, and also, Greg Jennings' departure wasn't the same. For one, he was a free agent. Greg Jennings got on the phone and called Chris Carter. Hey, man, can you get me over in that purple? hey, CC, they need a wide receiver.
And here's the other thing.
I said, man, let's get that family taken care of.
When did you leave Green Bay? What year?
12-13.
12-13. It's now 2017. Right now, this moment, are you younger than James Harrison?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. So that's the other difference there.
Greg, thank you so much for being with us today. Coming up, talk some basketball. Carmelo Anthony, is he ready to admit he's only a role player? That's next on First Things.